Thank you so much for joining us today. For all of our viewers, can you introduce yourself?
Yes, I'm Marianne Curtis. I am with the organization Radical Women. We're international socialist feminists and have been active on the reproductive rights issue since the 1980s. It was actually my introduction to becoming a women's right activist and advocate. And the way I got introduced to feminism and women's rights was defending women's clinics, abortion clinics in particular.
Can you talk about the group that you're a part of, Radical Women?
Yes, Radical Women, like I said, is socialist feminist. We are consider ourselves the left wing of the feminist movement. We were founded in 1968, and essentially we believe that the heart of women's oppression is in the economic system of capitalism.
Can you, I guess let's start out and can you tell us what your reaction is to the news of the Supreme Court opinion leak?
Well, actually, I'm glad the word is out there because we've all been waiting for concrete information on what the Supreme Court was going to do. We've seen erosion of the right to abortion being eroded over many years, and the fact that the Supreme Court has allowed the Texas ban to remain is a good indication of what they are going to do overall. So, it's not so much the leak, it's the fact that they are, in fact, intending to overturn a very fundamental right to control our bodies. And it's fundamental to the ability of women and others who choose to have their children to decide our lives, when we can work, when we can go to school, how can we afford the children we have. So I've been active around this issue and out protesting at marches, for many, many years. And I think, we really have to put pressure on the government, our public officials, and in particular the Democratic Party that claims they're all for our rights, but they're really at this point not doing anything.
Can you tell us what the issue of Roe v. Wade is?
Okay, so Roe basically legalized abortion in this country in 1973. Okay, so the basic issue right now is that with a very conservative majority on the Supreme Court, they want to overturn it. And there was a decision leaked recently. The court is not set to rule. They could rule any time, but it was talked about in June. So the urgency is that this reversal of a basic right is in jeopardy. And so I'm here today, and we're talking about people mobilizing together, and Radical Women is mobilizing with the National Mobilization for Reproductive Justice.
So you said that you can remember when Roe was decided in 1973. How does it feel if you contrast what it was like back then to now to have this decision?
Well, I think having abortion rights on the books, I have to think back to so in 73, I was in college, I was in my 20s, and I think back to, before abortion was legal, to my mother's generation, where they, constantly had the worry of pregnancy, and they had no rights at that point. So now, I mean, to be looking at that again, be looking at a reversal of this situation, to go back 50 years, is absolutely, in some ways, unthinkable. And that's why I'm still doing this at the age of 70, almost 75. It's I don't think I would be doing this. I don't think radical women wouldn't be on the forefront of leading marches and rallies and having this campaign where this is all volunteer. It is. It's volunteer, people volunteering their time. If we didn't see it as absolutely critical to the status of women in this country and how it's going to impact everybody.
A popular argument that's made is that abortions are killing babies. It's a human life. What would you say to that?
I think that it's a sidetrack issue. It's really not the issue at all. The issue is that it takes you have to bear a child. You have to carry the child. So to say that to have a choice to abort a fetus is not a person. Now, some people are trying to also push to have a fetus declared personhood, but they're not people until they're viable. And there are many reasons why people choose to terminate a pregnancy. It can be because of their health care issue, their own health issues. It can be because we don't have a society that helps people economically to afford children, because they can't afford housing. There are many issues. So I really think the whole when I say so-called right to life argument is bogus. It's not a rational or real argument. The truth is, if you ban abortion, people will continue to have them, but then they'll be unsafe. And this means, and you can look at the record, many people will die from unsafe abortions if it's not legal.
Do you think that there's a middle ground between the left and the right on this issue?
To me, this is not an issue you don't compromise on women's health care. You don't compromise on the health care of transgender people. You don't compromise on the health care of anyone.
So you've been involved for a long time, and so a lot of our viewers who might be younger, what would you say to them if they're disheartened by things like this happening? Since you've seen it pass and you've seen it be flipped.
Well, I would advocate that people get involved with an organization. We cannot do this by ourselves. And Radical Women would be a great organization to become part of. You could go to radicalwomenus@gmail.com or go to our website. There's information on how to join. I'm happy to talk with anyone who would like to about this. So I would recommend Radical Women definitely as an organization because it's very intersectional in its approach. We have always fought for and with those people that are the most vulnerable and on the bottom of the economic ladder. So people are in different places politically, but I think the key thing is to join an organization, and that's become part of something.
Well, thank you so much for coming out and talking to us. Are there any last thoughts that you want to leave us with?
Well, I want to thank you because I think it's very important that you're doing this for College of DuPage and that you see this as an important thing to educate around. So I mostly want to thank you.
No problem. Thank you most of all. Is there anywhere that people can find you, like an email or social media, where if they want to contact you, they should go?
Me personally, I would urge them to go to the Radical Women US site.
Okay, so thank you again for doing the interview. My name is Devin, and we're out.